All right, welcome to another video. If you ever wonder how many VIP points, legendary mats, or gold heads you're gaining a month, today I'm going to review my account and go over about how many of each I'm gaining per month. So if you actually look at the very first video on this channel that's active, it was December 1st. It was just a account review. That was my very first video on December 1st. So I pulled these stats mostly yesterday and the day before. So it's 96 days apart, right? So right about 3 months, a little over. Originally, I actually thought I was just going to make like a 3-month account progress video. And as I was making it, I realized if I framed it this way, it can help people a lot more as far as getting a feel of, hey, if you invest money in this, how many of each you're going to get. Okay, so let's actually get into this. So before we start, let's provide some context. I consider myself a mid-spender. I would say on average, during the off season, I spend about $350 a month. So obviously, if you watched my last video, I did max purchase the In Search of Wonder. So it's already above that, right? But that event maybe comes out every few months. On average, it's about $350. Sometimes, obviously, I go over. Sometimes it's a lot lower. That's what I would average it out to be. Okay, now during KVK, I do purchase all the pop-ups, you know, for all, like, as you're upgrading the Crystal Mine and the Research Center, all the pop-ups. And I usually max purchase 2 or 3 Mountain Warfare bundles, just depending on is there fighting or not. It's one of the worst feelings to have when you max purchase the Mountain Warfare and then there's no fighting. Okay, so as far as activity level, I would consider myself like above average in activity. You know, I'm not like some of these free-to-play monsters where they're on all the time. I probably play about 2 hours a day on the lower side. And that's now, right? Because when I'll show you the before and after the account, but when I first made this account, first made the channel, I only had one level 25 farm, and that's it. And now I have 8 farms, so 7 other farms that I'm actively trying to grow. And I will say I average about 2 hours a day or less, right? And the farms actually are taking up most of the time. I don't chain, which maybe I should, you know, a little embarrassing. But that's my activity level. Okay, so if you look at the bottom, right, the very first one, I was at 526 days. And then the one I pulled, I think from yesterday, is at 622. So that's 96 days apart. The VIP point differential is only about, not even only, about 450,000 difference. I actually have more than enough gems right now to get to VIP 17. I'm just waiting for more than gems. I think the estimate is that it's going to come out March 16th or 17th. So I'll just wait till then. It's going to be a huge boost because you get 5% all damage. And I think I've heard people that are supposedly knowledgeable in this say a ring of doom comes out to average about 5% all damage. So if you think about like getting to VIP 17, essentially if I have 6 marches, that's just 6 rings that or 1 ring I'm putting on each march. And it's going to be a huge boost. So I'm excited for that. Well, that's why I count the total VIP points gain over the last 3 months or so, or 96 days at 500,000 as opposed to 450 because I can't upgrade it. I'm just waiting for more than gems. Okay, so start out, let's actually go over the marches. Sorry, the one on the left is going to be more blurry because I literally screenshotted it from the video. Okay, but at the time, my first infantry, and these are actually interchangeable because I'm now running Kuang Scipio and the Luce Alex. But at the time, I didn't know better, so I was running Scipio Luce, which is an awesome march. But you can see there's a pretty big upgrade in gear. I upgraded the gloves, the ring, the horn, the shield. So obviously with the 4-piece, I got the 10% speed bonus. I didn't lose a dagger. I just lost it off of this march. I eventually moved it onto my Nevsky, which you'll see over there. On the right is my armament. So I lost the Smite inscription. That's 2% normal damage. But I actually gained Forceful, which is now 3% normal damage, and I also gain 1.2% defense and 2.7% march speed. The one on the bottom obviously looks better, right? Looks cleaner, but when you look at the stat upgrade, 1% extra normal damage, 1.2% defense, and 2.7% march speed. It's not nothing, right? But it's not like some like crazy boost. Now, I will say, like general principle, you'll see if something is already pretty good, whether it's your equipment or your armament, it becomes exponentially harder to get an upgrade over it. So I'll show a couple armaments later where before it was pretty bad, and then the increase or the upgrade is going to be a lot bigger. So this is my first infantry march. And obviously, the armament is going to be Arch for this. I do recommend for most people, unless you're a very high spender, even for me at my spend level, if I could go back, I probably wouldn't go for Arch, just because that is like a whale move, right? Because now for every Arch crate that I pulled, if I get a Cav or Archer stat, I can't use it. Whereas I would much rather just get my wedge to a much better place, and even though I'm missing out on, say, like the 5% skill damage with the Luce Alex, right? And Alex still actually benefits from the skill damage. You're going to have a lot less wasted stats from the armament crates. So if you are pulling right now, I would actually recommend for most people not to pull Arch unless you're just a big whale, and actually just stick with Wedge. Okay, so for my Infantry 2, you can see at the time, my plan was to run Kuang Alex. My Kuang was 5355, and then obviously he's now Expertise through the dailies. And now my second Infantry March is going to be Luce or Alex. It's debatable which one's better. Last time I did a video on this, pulling the reports, I think that Luce Alex was actually a better March by a little bit over Kuang Scipio, but we'll just call this Infantry 2. Okay, so for the equipment for this March, I upgraded a shield. I also got a boot and iconic, and obviously with that I get the 10% March speed bonus. Don't worry, at the very end I'll actually do an overview of all the equipment I gained, and that's how I calculate the material. If you look over at the armaments, I lost a couple of inscriptions. The onslaught that I lost is actually from a epics. That's why it's only 1% and not higher, right? And I lost 3 inscriptions, but I gained 3 inscriptions, and it's debatable which one you think is better. I think if you just, they're probably pretty comparable as far as the 3 I lost versus the 3 I gained. But then I also gained 2.3% attack, 0.1% defense, and then 0.8% health. And also it just looks cleaner, right? So sometimes, I don't know, sometimes when things look cleaner, it just feels better. But I did actually improve this armament as well. And even starting out, it wasn't necessarily in a bad place, right? So there wasn't that much more to improve on. And this is actually my first Infantry Wedge armament, and the last one was Arch. Okay, next one is Cavalry. So the equipment is almost the exact same, right? The upgrade, I just moved the dagger I had on the Scipio Luce March before to the Neski, and then I had a Delane's amulet on this March before, now it's gone. So this will be my Cavalry 1 March. So on December 1st, I had an Expertise Nevsky, and then a 5553 William. Joan at the time was 4111, and now Joan is Expertise, right? So the equipment is almost about exactly the same. Even like the iconics, I don't think I iconic size anything, but obviously the commander is completely different and Expertise now. If you look at the armaments here, this one I would actually say is worse, right? So before, not only was there just more total stats, but there was a decent amount more health. So there was 2.1% health more before and 0.2% more defense. And now I lost daring, which is 2.5% skill damage, gained 2% normal damage instead, gained 0.6% attack and 1.4% all damage, but lost those defensive stats. If you were just comparing the 2 armaments here, I would actually say that before was probably very slightly better. And I can't remember exactly what I did. I think I actually almost kind of consolidated a little bit, and then some of the armaments here actually went to my second March. I think that might be what happened, but I would say this is probably pretty comparable. Maybe even what I have now is slightly worse than before. So the Cav 2 is actually a huge upgrade, right? First, you can see I was running Mina Mehmed before, 5534 Mehmed with double relic. The gear is almost exactly the same. I had to cross it out just because I took the wrong screenshot, but I essentially put the Delane's amulet on this March. Everything else is the exact same. Now, the armaments is a pretty big upgrade. So if you look at the before and after, right? One, there's all these rainbow stats. Well, actually just 2. But I lost Spiked and Hardy, so 2.5% attack and health, and I gained 2.5% skill damage, right? So net, the inscriptions is actually a loss. But look at the stat gain. So I lost 1.1% speed and 3.2% all damage, which is a lot. But I gained 3.8 attack, 2.7 defense, and 6.5% health. Even if you subtract the 2.5 health right from the Hardy, that's still 4% health that I gained, which is really good. And if you subtract 2.5% attack from the spike, I still gained 1.3% attack plus 2.5% skill damage, and then another 2.7% defense. This is one of my bigger armament upgrades in the 3 months that I've been playing. Oh, I forgot to put it on there, but I also gained 3% march speed, which 1.9% march speed, which for Cav it doesn't matter that much, but it's still 1.9%. All right, for the archer, it's same thing. If anything, some would argue maybe the gear is a loss, right? Because I had a crit silent trial before for archers that I had this March before, the Archer 1. And then I actually took that off, put it somewhere else, and then I put a 5% March speed flag. For the archers right now, I feel like March speed is even more critical than before. It just feels really slow. So you can see even on my armaments and the flags that I'm putting onto the equipment, I'm just trying to get more March speeds just so the March 1 is more fun, but also like when you get in a bad position, you could get out easier. You could chase people down easier. Before it was Boudica ZL at 5554, and now it's ZL Herman 5554. My Herman, it has I think I have 20 something gold heads, so I'm really close to expertise in it. I don't know exactly what the ZL was at, so I'm just gonna pretend I just got to 5554 for both when I'm doing the calculation, right? So I essentially swapped out Boudica for Herman, right? And if you look at the armaments, right? Again, my armaments were already decent or pretty good before, right? So I lost daring, which is 2.5% skill damage, but I actually gained a rare inscription, focus fire, which is 4% skill damage. So that's a net 1.5% skill damage gained. Lost 1.6% defense, but I gained 0.9 attack, 1.5% health, and 2.9% march speed. So the armaments was already pretty good. Now I have no irrelevant stats, and obviously it's better. And once the armament gets to here, can it be better? Yes, but I probably wouldn't even try to upgrade this just because it's a lot harder to upgrade, right? So I think I said it on a couple streams recently, but if you have a rainbow stat, for example, on the top one, if I have damage to barbs, right, I could roll anything. I could get like a 1.5% attack, which a lot of people be like, oh, that's a low stat, but that's a 1.5% attack boost. If I had 1.5% attack and I wanted another 1.5% boost, I would actually have to roll a 3, which is really, really hard. I did the math before. It's just very, very hard. Like the percentage goes way down. So if you have rainbow stats that are irrelevant, provided the inscription is pretty good, you just want to get rid of it because this is where you're going to get the biggest boost. And in general in this game, if you have, let's just say, armaments, equipment, commanders, whichever one out of the 3 is the weakest or the one that's further below the threshold for it to be viable, that's where you want to focus your attention on. I think a lot of people, they just don't like armaments, they just ignore it. Right? I'm not going to name names, but if you're just playing the percentages and what will give you the biggest benefit, you have to go where your biggest weakness is. Okay, Archer 2, right? So I had 5511 Henry, which I don't know. I really like Henry. For some reason, I almost feel like I like Henry better than Boudica. If Henry was expertise, I would actually consider running him over Boudica, but he's not. And Boudica on paper is better. So the equipment here is also very similar. I didn't upgrade this. I just moved the Silent Trial from before. I think on the Archer March over here, you can see the Archer flag. So 6.5% March speed is also on this March. I do actually plan on testing out Boudica ZL and then Herman YSG in this next KVK. Big Kane, if you guys know his channel, awesome dude. He turned me onto this. Apparently it's squishier when it's getting targeted, but as far as just raw damage output, if it's not getting targeted, it actually does even better than Boudica YSG. So Herman YSG does even better than Herman ZL. I think that's the damage output. That's the testing he did. Okay, so if you look at the armaments here, right, it's actually a pretty big boost here. So Hurry seems good, right? You gain 15% march speed for 10 seconds after leaving battle. And then Metallics, it was an epic one, 2.5% defense. I lost those two, and I lost 2.8% defense. But I gained Vitality, which is 3.5% health. another 2.1% health, another 2% attack, and 3.2% march speed. So if you compare the top and the bottom, right, this archer armament set is almost done too. When I say almost done, it just means the big upgrades are done, right? Obviously, if I only have one inscription here, that means there's at least 3 armaments, or there is 3 armaments that don't have inscriptions on them. So once this is quote unquote done, right, if I get a pretty good armament, then it's time to start working on having a armament with an inscription to upgrade over the triple stat ones I have right now that have no inscriptions on them. All right, so the conclusion, right, if it's about 500,000 VIP points over 3 months, it'll come out to about 167,000 VIP points a month. So I've just moved to I migrated to 2268. I think I've been here for 3 days, and I could tell you, even being here for 3 days, just the spend level is different from the kingdom I was at before, and like being here for 3 days, I'm pretty confident that this rate will actually be noticeably higher. If I had to take a guess, it'll probably be closer to like 200,000 VIP points a month, or maybe even more, as opposed to 167,000. So if I was going at the rate I was at before, right, let's just pretend I just hit VIP 17 because I have enough. I'm just waiting for more than gems, right? I'll need another 1.5 million points to hit VIP 18. So if I was going at the rate I was before, it will come out to about 9 months, and if it's a little higher, I should be able to hit VIP 18 in less than 9 months. Maybe, hopefully it's going to be closer to let's see, 200, hopefully closer to like 6.5, 7 months, hopefully. Right now, the equipment, I gain 1 legendary glove, a ring, a horn, 2 shields, and a boot. Okay, now obviously for every one of these, I also replaced whatever I had before by dismantling it. So I had 2 blue shields, the ring and a horn. I was actually missing a armament slot. So one, I had to pay the whole 120 legendary mats. The other one, it was 120 minus whatever like 70 epics comes out to for legendary mats. I forgot the exact number, but it comes out to about 150 legendary mats a month, based on that calculation. Commanders, right? These are the commanders that I didn't have expertise. I was obviously using a Henry and also a Mehmed that I'm not using anymore. But the Kuang and the William, I expertise through buying dailies, and I'm a nerd. I like canyons, so a lot of my dailies actually have been going into Constantine to just get him expertise. But Joan went from 4111 to expertise. ZL went from 5554 to expertise. And the Herman went from, I didn't even have him, to he's 5554 now. That ended up coming out to about 450 gold heads a month. I think that number is going to start going down dramatically, just because for about 2 of those months, I was like maxing every wheel that was relevant. You know, besides the leadership one, where like there was one where it was before Herman came out and I didn't really have anything to max. I was max spinning every wheel. Once you start catching up to commanders, gold has become way less valuable, right? So gold heads should not be something that you're investing in early game. I think it's something where as you get to like KVK 3 and now you have the opportunity to try to catch up in commanders, that's when your resources should be really focused on that. And then as you're getting close to catching up, right, so I should be able to max Herman in the next week or 2, and then I'll just be saving up for the next cab that comes out. And then when it comes out, ideally just through naturally accumulating gold heads, I'll be able to stay in the meta, and I won't have to actually put extra resources or gems into gold heads. And actually, same thing for armaments. My armaments are pretty much done as far as the big upgrades, and almost everything I have now is going to start actually going into equipment. So if I made another video 3 months from now, the legendary mass per month should be a lot higher, maybe even up to like 250, closer to 300. The gold heads per month is going to be a lot lower. The VIP will probably stay about the same just because I wasn't necessarily focused on it. I do try to max out the more than gems when it comes out, or at least do the 7,000. I think that you could either do 7,000 to get some gold heads, and then 25,000 is the next tier up to get the gold heads. The armaments obviously improved, but it's harder to quantify. I think So the In Search of Wonders event just came out, the one with the compass, right? A lot of people are like, oh, I got wrecked. So you actually have a couple chances to win with that. And first, you go straight up, just pull something that's better, right? It's just an upgrade. People are happy with that, right? Or they're looking for a special inscription, which is very, very, very hard to get. The other one is you actually get projects or like stuff where there's a better inscription, projects you could potentially work on in the future, right? So I do actually have a lot of those that are in my armaments bag, if you will, that the potential is there, but I just need to get to a point where everything's in a decent place and I can start going for those high upside projects. And the third one is you just get junk, right? But when you get junk, you can recycle it for transmutation stones, and that will also help set you up to get your armaments a lot better, just because right now it's really hard to get transmutation stones. So in Search of Wonders, I would say if you understand those 3 layers, even if you get junk, it's not as painful. But I think a lot of people don't either. I mean, maybe they get it logically, but there's some kind of emotional attachment, because it does feel like you're failing more than you're winning, and it's become this like very painful event to get. So I think that Search of Wonders has come out 3 times since I started playing. I actually maxed it all 3 times. And I probably won't max it next time, but not because I don't think it's a good event, just because when your armament gets to a certain place, I want to start diverting all my resources towards the equipment, because that's kind of like the next frontier, right? And then other considerations, during this time, I might have maxed another museum, but I definitely did Constantine and Alex, and those are 2,200 relic coins each. So I'm just a rough math. I think it ended up coming out to about 1,500 relic coins a month. I think if that's when you kind of, and I do have some left, so it's probably a little bit higher. I don't think anyone cares that much about it. It's probably some bad math, but that is a 3-month progress report or 96-day progress report. And also I think the VIP points, legendary masks, and gold heads I gained a month. Please leave a comment and let me know what you think. And again, thank you guys for watching. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe to the channels. It helps a lot. I do have a second channel. It's for mentoring. So if you do have questions, if you go to that mentoring channel, even if you don't want to pay for mentoring, there's an email there. If you send it to me, it'll help me put together a mailbag, because it helps me, one, get a pulse of what people want to know, but also give me questions that I can then make into contents for that second channel. Again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.